Himalayan ranges span a vast region of India from Kashmir to Nepal. Gadwal and Kumaon regions were part of Uttar Pradesh. In year 2000, these regions were separated from Uttar Pradesh and a state Uttaranchal was formed, with Dehradun as its capital. As people from this region were keen on the name Uttarakhand, the state was renamed as same in January 2007. The southern part is called as Kumaon region, while upper part is Gadwal region. As so many events and stories from Puranas are related to the most of the places here, Uttarakhand is called as the abode of gods. Char Dham, Gangotri, Yamunotri, Kedarnath, Badrinath, and way to Mansarovar and Mount Kailash, and so many more places of pilgrimage and shrines under the towering peaks of the great Himalaya lie here. So it is really Deobhoomi. At the northeastern part, there lies another pilgrim place for nature lovers. It is Valley of Flowers. The local villagers of Bhundar were calling it as Nandankanan and were feared of entering in it because they considered it as playground of fairies and nymphs. But in 1937, Frank Smith introduced this place to world as Valley of Flowers. July to September is time to visit Valley and enjoy a panorama of colors. Gadwal Mandal Vikas Nigam is very enthusiastic and operative since 1977 in arranging tours and treks all over Gadwal. So booking a seat with them is the best option, and I did the same to visit Valley of Flowers. Rishikesh, which is famous meditation and yoga teaching center with places like Triveni Ghat and Lakshman Zula, was the starting place of the tour. Bharat Bhoomi Tourist Complex of Gadwal Mandal hosted this 7 days tour where destination was Govind Ghat, 278 kilometers by bus. On the day tour started, it was drizzling. The road was uphill and through trees. After 15-20 minutes, River Ganga showed her appearance to the right side. And yes, of course, it has to be because the road is along riverside till its origin, and we were going upstream by road, of course. Mist wrapping the river stream in the early hours of morning had given surreal appearance to the scene. We were absorbed in the outside view, tracing the river till 2 hours, and at around 9:30 we came across first landslide during the tour. The traffic was waiting for more than an hour as the clearance at the site of slide was going on. As the vehicle was not moving and clouds had their permanent place in the sky, it was sweating. But after an hour we moved on. The route meets many confluences of River Ganga, and 5 of them are major ones. So they are known as Panchaprayag. First one we met was Devprayag. Here is the confluence of River Bhagirathi, the left one flowing from Gangotri, and the other one coming straight is Alaknanda, originating from Vasudhara Falls, a place 8 kilometers ahead of Badrinath. The merged waters flow as Ganga down the vast area of the country afterwards. Our route was on the banks of Alaknanda, going upstream till village Mana, the last village of India. The next confluence was at Rudraprayag. The far one is Mandakini, meeting Alaknanda. As per plan, the night halt was supposed to be at Joshimath after covering 256 kilometers. But at Gochar, around 4 o'clock in the evening, we came to know about a major landslide ahead. Though clearing work was in progress for past 3 days, the road was still blocked. Mr. Narendra Negi, our tour guide, suggested a small trek across the slope. The luggage would be transported by hiring porters, and a private bus would be taken to the nearest rest house at Kaldubghat. No other option was there than to agree for this plan. During the trek, we came across a torrent flowing with force. Local people and police officials were there to help people crossing the stream. I had an experience of river crossing last year with Triple Points picnic. So for me, the torrent was not fearful. But for others, it was a lifetime experience. Then the way was through backyards of small houses situated on the river bank. So it was an enjoyable walk through lush green area around. We got a private bus on the other side of the landslide and reached Kaldugad in the evening. The rest house was just 30 feet away from the river bed. So the day ended with listening roaring lullaby by river. In the morning, river was vanished in mist, but its roaring had filled the atmosphere. It was the voice of river since ages, and for eons to come it will be there. An awesome thought for eternity. Around 9:30 in the morning, we started off towards Govind Ghat and met one more Prayag on the way, Nandaprayag, confluence of Nandakini and Alaknanda. Now we were in district Chamoli and gaining height rapidly. The road was nothing but of hairpin ascents and blind bends. The hugeness of mountains was increasing as we were ascending high, leaving Alaknanda at the feet of mountains. Around 1:30 we reached Govind Ghat at an altitude of 6,000 feet. Now there was 14-kilometer trek ending at Ghangriya at 10,000 feet. With 3 days needful luggage, we started off. Luggage was carried by porters. These porters were Nepali and had come there to earn some living during this season, a very tough life of theirs. All people hired ponies to climb, but myself and my uncle decided to climb the mountain on foot. The way was paved and wide enough, and roaring Lakshman Ganga accompanied the trekkers till end. Rain had started around 2:30. The way was not busy. Mostly with Sikhs were there on the way because Hemkund, a holy place for Sikhs, is up there. So Sikhs from every economical and social level were on the way. And as this is the only way to reach up, each and every material needed for life is to be carried over the ponies. So the way was not lonely. Till 6 in the evening, me and my uncle had covered only 9 kilometers. And yet 5 kilometers were to go. Not a distance that could be covered before darkness. We sat in a side restaurant for a cup of tea and were really worried about the diminishing light condition. Marching in the darkness on slippery muddy way, bending so many times, was not a wise idea. But to our relief, we saw Mr. Negi coming up. He joined our team, myself, uncle and Bahadur, the porter. As he was well acquainted with the way and had a good electric torch, all worries were disappeared. And I started off with joy, almost running some distance. To add to this joy, just a few meters ahead, I saw a snow peak, a bliss for the rest of the trek. This was first sight of snow in my life. Now the darkness was prevailing, and with each step, strength in feet was decreasing. At last, feet halted to a standstill, and I sat down in darkness. As I looked above, I saw silhouettes of conifers piercing the night sky. Now the sky was cleared of clouds, but only with a very thin layer. Stars were shining through that thin veil. It was $1 million scene. All discomfort had gone now. As I moved eyes to some distance away, through contours of two mountains, a layer of clouds was glittering. Meantime, Mr. Negi arranged for a mashal, and our kafila marched on with sticks in hand to support. At last, the trek ended at around 9 o'clock at night. We were the last people entering Ghangriya on that day. Once in the rest house, all body senses became alive. Wetness of clothes, ache in feet, hunger in stomach, all drew attention, and with tasty and hot dinner, day ended. Today was visit to Valley of Flowers. As I came out of the room, I saw a huge mountain just at the back of the rest house. Nearby there was parking lot for ponies, and ghodawalas were waiting for savari. Nature was in favor and showed the clear sky. It was 3-kilometer trek to reach the valley, and then valley is stretched to 6 kilometers ahead. I started off with my pace. I was alone from my group as most of them had arranged for pittu, that is, riding on the back of a porter, because ponies were not allowed in the valley. Though alone, I was not lonely, as other groups of trekkers and tourists were moving on. Guides and experts of these teams were very friendly and shared information about their profession with me. And to my surprise, all were asking me whether I was a regular trekker. Because of my swift and accurate foot placing, I was considered as a pro. This was a great discovery about myself. Here also River Pushpavati was accompanying the trail. At one place it was ice covered, the ice overgrown on the path. One had to walk over the ice log, not a simple one, foot to be trodden only upon the cut path. Valley starts 1 kilometer after this glacier. A paved way goes across the valley. Till now sun was shining, but as I entered the valley, fog ruled the scene. But the distant mountains were visible. They were covered with green shrubs, and they were looking like green carpet. Gushing torrents running across the valley were like silver threads through this green carpet. The water of these torrents was ice cold, but it took away all pains from my feet when I placed my feet in one of the currents. I had a great wish of putting up a tent and stay overnight in this fairyland. But 1:30 was time for return trail, and unwillingly I had to return back. Today was climb to Hemkund, a lake at an altitude of 14,000 feet. It needs 6 kilometers steep trek from Gangria. Weather was not in favor, very cloudy and rainy. I opted to ride a pony because next day we had to trek 14 kilometers down to Govind Ghat. The journey started around 6:30 in the morning. As we were climbing up and up, clouds and fog mystified the way. As there was less chance of good condition on the way back, I decided to shoot in this foggy weather. Camera was in back sack and I had wore jacket over the bag. So I did some acrobatics on horse to put off jacket, get the sack on the chest and pull out camera. Shooting in low light with jerks and shakes from horse was another exercise that kept me busy on horse. A legend about this place is that Lakshman in his Shesh avatar had meditated here. So there is Lakshman's temple. Also, some 30 years back, a Sikh discovered that Guru Gobind Singh had meditated at the same place. So, the place has now made a pilgrim place for Sikhs. Pious Sikhs dip in the ice-cold lake, giving shiver to the observer. All of a sudden, after 15 minutes, fog prevailed the scene. We were not lucky today. Rain started and we rushed to Langar for garma-garam khichdi and tea. Riding down started around 11:30. Riding saves time only, but not at all saves discomfort. All body is shaken, and for those who are afraid of height, they experience breathtaking moments all the journey. Today was return journey to Govind Ghat. I started descending at 6:30 in the morning. The weather was good till 10 and it started raining afterwards. That slowed the pace. As there is gate system, that is one-way traffic, to reach bus at Govind Ghat before 12 noon was the constraint to head towards Badrinath. There was continuous drizzling throughout the day and it was getting colder and colder. Around 5 in the evening we reached Badrinath. Rain hadn't stopped and fog was there, limiting the sight. Badrinath is the main holy place, a place of Bhagwan Vishnu, on the banks of roaring Alaknanda, flowing at ice-cold temperatures. But to surprise, there is Taptakunda, a hot water spring on its bank. Bathing in this 40° centigrade water when atmospheric temperature is around 10° centigrade is really a joy to be experienced. Badrinath temple is very spacious and colorful. After darshan, we headed for village Mana, the last village on the way. It is 3 kilometers ahead of Badrinath, and after Mana, there is Tibet border. It is said that Vyas and Ganeshji wrote Mahabharata here. Also, Pandavas wrote to heaven from here. To go to the other bank of river Saraswati, Bhim constructed a bridge out of a monolith. River Saraswati jumps from height here with great force and then meets Alaknanda a kilometer below. People from this village have Tibetan features and knitting woolen clothes serves their living. Spending only 1.5 hours was too short time, but we had to move back again, constraint of gate system. Unwillingly, the return journey was started, with scenes of landslides, treks, glaciers, flowers, huge mountains, fogs, and so on, rolling before mind's eye. A visit to Himalaya makes one aware of purity of Mother Nature, vastness of Mother Nature, the tough living of people over there. And this awareness sheds off one's worries and tensions and gives a chance to uplift on spiritual level. And then one comes to know why it is called as Deobhoomi.